Welcome back to Knack II, and Deji decided to come in so he can try to liven up the commentary since we've been going off topic too much. Deji, come on, talk about Knack.
Okay, so I haven't played this game yet. But something tells me that I'm probably not missing much.
Which one?
No.
This or the?
Goblins are
this one or the
attacking.
first
Knack
one?
defeat them. The
Both.
end.
Oh, good. Yes, because both apply. But go on.
Deji, imagine an entire game of just the werehog, except it's even more boring.
Well, I heard the werehog was actually polished.
Well,
Well,
the
this is
werehog
technically
has.
polished as well, it's just shallow.
The problem with the werehog is just that it's out of place for what you expect for a Sonic game, where the main objective is platform, going fast to complement. It's platforming complemented with high-speed action.
Speedy
And like,
platforming, yeah.
like I mentioned in the Unleashed commentary, Sega already has a property that does exactly what the Werewolf did, Altered Beast. So,
And Streets of Rage, which are arguing a new one.
Yay!
And a year later, after Unleashed, we got Bayonetta. Oh, was it 2000?
Bayonetta's not so much a beat 'em up like the werehog. Bayonetta's
It's,
more
it's
like
a hybrid. Yeah, it's a hybrid.
Yeah, it's a hybrid.
And remember that
Beat 'em up is the same thing.
not
partially.
really.
Or same difference.
No,
Also
no,
remember
no.
Deji. Also remember Deji Bayonetta was originally pitched for Capcom as an IP. Capcom just rejected it because we were busy doing other stuff at the time. So
Thanks, Inafune.
So Platinum went to Sega next.
I guess to be fair, they would have probably had people accusing them of getting stale, seeing how similar Bayonetta and Devil May
I'm
Cry
more
tend to be.
amazed by the audacity of Hideki Kamiya, by the fact that despite his previous studios, Clover Studios, being outright dismissed and cancelled by Capcom after Okami had low sales originally, he still went back to them.
Here's the thing.
Oh god, the frame rate of the
Wow.
box.
Yeah.
Actually, this gives me a good chance to maybe explain the tanks we did in the last part. Basically, you move forward with the analog stick, and you also basically tell it's literally tank controls, which I guess it fits.
No, I mean that's fine on its own, but like I mentioned in the previous part, the problem lies in the fact of how obstacles are thrown in your face with this section. But I'm more amazed about the fact that the textures of the objects when you destroy go away in like 10 frame rates per second or something.
As you can see, there's
Look at the text.
Wow.
Oh my god.
I'm Pedro.
had a
You didn't tell me that we were gonna watch a stop motion video.
No,
I assure you,
that,
Deji, this is just the game.
yeah, I don't think there's too much difference.
There's
with the
no
Pro,
saving
honestly.
it.
The only real difference with the Pro is that you can manage a more consistent 60 FPS, but even then it's not 100% consistent.
And honestly, Judge. Okay, so let's say for argument this does play better on the Pro. Why should a game like this need the Pro to play better? When, you know, the first Knack was supposed to be something of a technological marvel itself. Like, these
Besides-
graphics, they are not
besides
pushing
Jova,
anything.
Besides Jova, can you imagine how the marketing could be? Sony proudly presents its first ever console exclusive game for the PlayStation 4 Pro, Knack II.
And it still runs like crap. Like, again, let me remind you, Knack was supposed to be their mascot, and apparently Sony is still treating him as their quote-unquote mascot until they maybe get someone better deserving. And yeah,
Well, before God of War, which to
Joel
be fair,
and Ellie.
yeah, hold on. Before we God of War, which was already an easy target because it was continuing previous franchise, one character that Sony chose to represent them a lot was Aloy for Horizon Zero Dawn. That's because it was truly the new flagship IP that really did succeed for the PS4. Even if it went against the competition of Breath of the Wild, which was no small feat, to be fair.
oh, that's all well and good, and Horizon Zero Dawn is definitely a good one. I'm just going by what Sony has been doing so far. I mean, well,
No, you're right. But yeah, with the whole
Anyway,
exclusive
if you don't-
thing... Sorry, go ahead, Pedro.
You might have noticed how there's two gauges in the tank. The yellow one is the cooldown attack thingy, and the blue one is your health gauge.
Yeah, sorry, I had to cut out for like a few minutes because my internet was running like crap. So, and well, everything's better now. You were saying about Allura?
So yeah, don't worry about the health bar of the tank. Even if the tank does break, you can just get out of it and continue fighting normally as yourself.
Besides,
So-
I can imagine the only things that damage it are the rocks and other tanks.
No, the enemies do damage it. It's just that the game is so easy. that as long as you're not picking your nose, you should be able to do just fine.
You were saying
Chapter
that
7-4, The Awakening.
What a generic title.
Will this be the sequel to The Happening?
No, let me guess. The next title is Revelations.
They are starting to
Please,
move.
no.
Was the first title called Genesis? And in Europe it was called Mega Drive.
It might as well be at this point, seriously. But yeah, Jova, with the exclusivity thing that you mentioned, it's like when Nintendo promoted as the first true, when they needed something to promote the new Nintendo 3DS, its first major, the only major exclusive that it still has, I think, right now, is the port. It's port of Xenoblade Chronicles, which from what they've been reported, it still is inferior to the Wii version anyway, so...
Just waiting for a Switch port at this rate. It's sort of like how I've lucked out by getting Hyrule Warriors the Definitive Edition.
Yeah. Treasure chest.
Alright, let's see what's inside.
So Dej, your thoughts on Knack as a character, or a possible Sony mascot?
We've already discussed this even with him in the first game's playthrough.
Regardless, just to keep my memory fresh, he looks way too complex for... I mean, from a visual standpoint, it's like, oh, if this is supposed to be a mascot...
It's like what Pedro said, this is not a thing that a kid could be drawing easily and say, oh, that's a character that I really like.
Then again, a lot of kids like Optimus Prime, and he's hard to draw.
Well, to be fair, I mean, there are several variants of him that aren't as hard to draw as others. And also, let's not forget
G1 Transformers.
To be fair, Deji, when you get down to your Optimus, is a bunch of rectangles. Not that much. Knack is a gajillion of mini triangles and spheres.
Not only that, he's literally
with
a bunch...
triangle nipples, I only noticed that.
Basically, if you want to draw Knack accurately, you're going to have to draw several different fragments. It's like doing one of those, it's like doing one of those floor tile patterns, only even still, they're all spaced out between. I mean, okay, that does sound like a unique character design. Here's the thing, though. Normally, when a character does something like that, that's saved for like something like a super form. And I know what you're about to say, but that technically is Knack's super form. Yeah, except here's the problem. Knack only gets more of a character when he's bigger, because again, whenever he's small, he can't talk, he can barely emote when he is smaller. Well, okay, he should be able to emote better, but he doesn't even when he's small. Again, Knack has the most character when he's all big and
that camera was
pixel
pretty
like
bad.
that.
Yeah.
Yep.
It really was.
Again, this wouldn't be a problem if, like say, something like Super Mario Odyssey, we actually had the control for the camera. But no, the camera is always fixed. Again, it's just like the Werehog sections in Sonic Unleashed. You can never mess with the camera with an analog stick like you... Oh, that's...
Wait, actually, if I recall correctly, you could use the analog stick for the camera.
Oh, God.
You could, but only to a minimum extent. You don't have full 360 control like in Odyssey or something like that.
Because this reminds me of the opening of Transformers.
That's exactly the thing, Deji. The plot of this game is basically Knack plus Bayformers. That's basically... There's the Allspark. You need to get the Allspark so you can... and the enemies are all... It's basically a Bayformers plot.
At its most boring.
And
wow. So Transformers last night then?
Oh, absolutely.
I'm still looking forward to Bumblebee.
Oh yes, the Bumblebee movie is looking lit.
Like, I know some people are like, I don't understand the appeal of it since it still looks like a Bayformers. There's something different about it.
Maybe the fact that this one looks like it'll have more of a jumper zone, the fact that there's not wonton swearing.
I think that it's because it seems to be more focused instead of having to deal with another Earth invasion and stuff like that. It's about Bumblebee integrating with this family.
And hey, a Bumblebee versus...
It's also a romance story. Let's be real.
Oh wait. When was that ever said?
I mean,
a romance story made by Michael Bay. I cannot wait.
Faithfully to you, Michael
Pearl
Bay.
Harbor turned out so...
Okay.
Michael Bay's not directing it.
Yeah, Michael Bay has
enough... who did Copa and the Tusher and...
Yeah.
Oh.
Michael Bay is...
chance.
Basically, Tio, ever since last night, Michael Bay finally got the boot from the Transformers franchise.
You know what? I know he did it. He broke his curse. You know how every
Hold on. Okay. So, did we manage to finally activate one of them? Yep. Oh, there you go.
It's Megatron.
You come here often.
Hey, Gundahar.
Durr.
Knack, hurry!
How convenient, there are just 3 of these coat hangers.
Yeah, why wasn't Eva with them this time?
Don't ask me, I ain't got a clue.
No, Knack. Oh, he's fine.
He's fine.
That's
Yeah,
another
Remember,
thing.
remember, Theo, there's no fall damage in this game.
But that's-
That's actually makes a good point.
Crash
Knack
Bandicoot
should-
section kind of.
Knack
Maybe
should not
not.
feel pain. Like, unless his core is directly damaged, he should not feel pain when he's attacked, like, say, through his appendages, relics, or something.
Not only that, maybe this is a bit of a nitpick, but normally...
The one time you needed an invisible wall.
Wow, this may be a bit of a nitpick, but normally when Knack falls like that, he kind of slightly disperses. But in that scene, when he falls, he stays completely intact, like none of his particles even move about.
Also,
Correct me if I'm wrong, Theo.
didn't you add that a gadget that actually prevented the falling damage?
True, but it's only in platforming sections too.
Cheap.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Theo. Isn't there, aren't there set pieces in the God of War games that are similar to this, where you're trying to, escape some giant opponent trying to kill you over
Yes,
over the
but
level?
in these cases, it's usually a giant boss that you actually have to make it pay for, usually by stabbing the hands. Like, for example, the Colossus of Rhodes at the beginning of 2.
I mean, there are loads of games that do this sort of thing, well enough. I mean, platformer, beat 'em up. Heck, even the second Bayformers video game adaptation on the PS2
Yeah,
version.
guys, set piece, excitement.
Whoa.
Anyway, yes, Deji?
I like Crash Bandicoot, guys.
Yes, but...
Bay finally broke his curse. Remember every Bay Former movie he said, this was gonna be my last one? With the last night, he says,
Well, like Jova just said,
hold on,
was it because he was
hold on,
booted
hold
out?
on, hold on.
No,
Let
he
that
said
finish.
that I have 12 more stories to plan out. So he did the reverse.
12?
Yes.
What is he gonna do?
The plan was to make a Transformers cinematic universe.
Oh dear God.
I think it was...
No.
Wasn't it like gonna be a Hasbro cinematic
Oh yeah,
universe?
yes, Knack will totally not be spotted behind that column.
His chest.
What about
Yeah, he
it?
totally won't, actually.
Oh, there's a hole.
Now,
Great
how do we
comeback
get
line.
close to
Hey,
that tower?
Knack has such these incredible comeback lines. Ice is nice, red's bad, payback time.
I hate goblins.
Oh, okay.
Well, fuck off, game.
This is a stealth section now.
Challenge?
No stealth, you need to stay behind the barrel. Yeah.
Okay, here's the basic gist of it. Whenever he's looking down, you can go. Whenever he's looking up, you can't.
Okay. fair
Basically,
enough.
it's not stealth, Theo. It's red light, green light. That's what it is.
Well,
Oh.
basic
Fuck
stealth.
Oh,
you.
wait.
You
was
were just
a
hiding
break.
behind
Wait.
that.
What
He was
just
about to
happened?
start looking down, but then he immediately went back up.
No.
Fuck
Pedro,
you, game.
Not about to start looking down. He was looking down, but then abruptly just looked up for some reason. What? It's
Yeah,
not.
I think it was programmed really that way, like in order to trick you. Like
There you go.
that.
See?
Yeah,
There you go.
yeah, it is.
Wow.
I hate when games do this.
This is
Oh, I'm
meanest game of Red
sure
Light.
you love Alien Isolation then.
I mean,
Pedro.
okay. On the one hand, it is actually kind of realistic for someone to do that. And you know what, that's fine and all, but this feels like something that should come with a difficulty setting. Like, for example, in the Arkham games, you could have your settings be easy enough, but on the ultra super hard difficulties, then it's incredibly realistic to the point where mooks even get something that jams your detective vision or whatnot. Whereas that, again, that just feels like a needless difficulty spike all of a sudden, considering how, for the most part, that enemy just acts in telegraphed moves, except for that one bit.
This is the meanest game of Red Light.
Allow me to remind everybody that I'm playing on easy mode. So yeah,
Get good.
Yes.
I'll get
Yeah, it's
good
not-
when the
it's not-
game. I'll
it's
get
not the game's
good when
fault,
the
it's
game is
yours.
well designed.
Also, yeah, Pedro, I guess you really like Alien Isolation.
Yeah,
like,
I've never
considering-
actually played those games.
Basically, the gist of it, Pedro, is that you're basically first-person survival horror. The alien AI is incredibly smart. You
I am aware.
The moment you try a new tactic, he almost immediately adapts to it. So you need to be very
Oh,
creative
so it's like
all
Mortal.
the time.
Oh, so it's like Mortal Kombat 2.
Okay.
Kinda.
Now those
But,
kinds of fights
it's
actually
not
do
that
work.
unfair, basically. The game gives you kind of like an idea of it. Like, for example, shut down your tricorder if the enemy is nearby, because otherwise the noise will attract it, for
Sure.
example.
I never understood why fans have such a deep fucking love for Mortal Kombat 2 as the best of the classic ones, because that AI is irritating as all hell.
Masochism, yes.
I'll take Ultimate 3 and Trilogy over 2, thank you.
My guess is like, will they like the challenge involved in an AI that
Well, that's the
constantly?
thing,
Jova,
it's not
Jova,
challenging, it's
Jova.
just cheap. Every
There is
time...
no challenge in Shao Kahn, let me just tell you that.
Yeah, the way Mortal Kombat 2 works, Jova, is every time you do anything, the CPU immediately catches it and does the perfect counter move for it. You're basically you have to. They don't have any proper strategy or fighting that you have to just keep doing random stuff and try to catch the AI off guard. It's basically a game of catching the AI off guard, not an actual. It's annoying as hell.
Basically, Joe, it's the SNK boss trope. Combined with the computer is a cheating bastard.
Fortunately, Mortal Kombat 3 and its expansions fix those problems, because the AI in Mortal Kombat 3 is way better,
Alright,
which is
time
why I
for
like.
the takedown, I guess.
Okay. Alright, time for cinematic action.
Wait.
So how will Knack defeat this one?
Wait,
Aside
he's
from the
gonna-
weak point.
He's gonna shrink and get inside it and destroy it from the inside.
Alright.
Or he's gonna punch it.
That too, but
Well, he's
there you
gotta,
go.
he's
gotta
gotta
open
find
up
a
a-
way.
Yeah.
And now he's going to.
There you go, see?
Oh, there you go.
This is actually gonna be a common thing when it comes to the giant robots of this
Hello.
game.
Hey, cool.
Uh,
Maybe. Hey, cool. Maybe we'll actually get to pilot this night.
That's for later, Jova. We're not gonna be able to pilot this mech.
Victory salute!
Oh, and never mind. The mech got taken down just because two
Why the
Lukes slammed
military
into it.
salute? It's all the place.
I know. Don't worry, Jova. Later on, there's gonna be a city level where we're going to pilot a giant mech that's even bigger than that one.
Also, this transition was
Thank you,
weird.
Knack.
Yeah.
Thank you all. Your efforts saved many lives
We
today.
did. It didn't
It's
feel
not
like
to
it.
take any of that seriously because little
Thank you,
little
Xander.
Knack looks ridiculous.
But I'm
So
afraid
one
we're no
minute he's
closer to stopping
chastising
Gundahar.
Ava for joining them.
Okay,
now
wait,
he's saying that
question.
he's proud of her.
Not really.
Yes.
Serious
When
question.
we started,
Is that girl going to
Smash
betray them?
robots was a lot
Who,
more
Ava?
fun.
No.
Yeah.
No, you got the. Try
Wait.
somebody else in this room.
I wonder.
It's
There's
the
someone
guy
in
who
this room,
danks-
but it's
It's the guy that danks them.
Yeah.
Hello.
Here's where we first
Like
saw
Theo
one.
called.
On a
Anyways.
Like, wow,
Next,
this,
they woke up in
this
the
game
valley
is
near
so
here.
predictable.
So Lucas is doing this amazing skill to track
Allow me
down
to remind
the
you
goblins.
allow me to remind you, Deji, that for this game they got Jennifer Hale, Josh Keaton, Laura Bailey, Travis Willingham,
Yeah.
all these people for these cutscenes that are below, that are on par with a Spirit Riding 3 episode.
That's a long way to go just to follow
That's
up on
Also-
what a waste of
Also,
talent.
I'm sorry, that next gen hair or Xander is atrocious.
That's just as bad as whenever the Sonic games have they have all these
hold on.
beloved voice actors.
Conversation.
Yeah, but the Sonic games are actually good and fun.
But a control center
That are
out over
not.
the ocean somewhere?
Hot take as usual,
It's not
Dej.
very likely.
Off topic,
what are you
guys. Take it
supposed to
simple.
do?
Take it
So what are you
outside.
supposed to do, Ryder, then?
Yeah, that's
sorry.
actually a good question.
Let me show you.
Lucas, do you want to actually contribute, or are you just?
So
gonna
yeah,
follow?
as you can probably guess, Lucas is gonna go lone wolf on this one.
I have no idea why.
Knack, and here's another problem. The fact that Knack is a little Knack here means he doesn't talk for this scene.
There you go. He admits it's not much of a lead, but he just has a feeling. So he's going to risk both him, Knack, and yes, Ava's lives. Sorry for just based on a hunch. Dude, come on. You were reasonable. You were reasonable. You were the reasonable in the first game. What happened to you?
He got more. He got more.
I guess he traded away alongside his grappling hook since he doesn't use it anymore.
No, I'll tell you what happened.
He got more screen time. That's what happened. See,
No,
here's.
puberty. That's what happened.
I guess.
Oh God.
Yes,
please.
Jonah.
See,
Well,
here's,
actually, Deji, these two have kind of a thing going on, so I guess yes.
so here's the thing with Lucas. It's like, well, see,
That was a joke.
part of the reason that he got to, actually be one of the better characters
Well,
in the
it's
first
canon.
game is like, well, he got the focus needed. Oh, and
Laura!
you're Lucas. He's
Thanks
not
for your
even your
contribution.
son.
Well, remember, Jova, they're kind of imply that the Doctor and Laura kind of became his adopted parents of sorts.
When did they ever imply that? I mean, all we know,
In between games off screen.
all we know is that Ryder is his
know it's out
uncle.
You're just supposed to assume.
Lucas, by chance, do you have a plan B in case you run out of fuel?
I didn't think this far
Oh,
ahead.
don't you see, Tio? It runs on relics. We should be fine.
No. It runs on plot convenience.
Yeah, I love how.
Well, that's exactly what relics are, because let me tell you, in most cases, relics are easy to find, but in some cases, specifically when the plot needs to, they're all of a sudden scarce. And don't
Wow.
I
ignore-
love beans and Dragon Ball.
What a coinkydink! Lucas managed to actually guess correctly the location.
That's he's becoming more and more of a Gary Stew as the game goes on.
A Gary Stew without potato nose.
I wouldn't say he's a Gary Stew, if only because he's not being portrayed as absolutely perfect. Like, I mean,
Ava. Okay, so basically, Ava, you're willing to leave your monastery to go out with these guys that you barely know
Now,
for
Because-
no.
don't you see, Pedro? She's the open-minded one.
Chapter 8.1 Island Explorers.
Yay.
How would you prefer if Knack was just silent like Jack in the first game?
I'm not sure.
That's just the thing, Deji. I kind of wish Jack would have remained silent
I'm
because.
going to kill Praxis.
Exactly, too. Thank
Okay.
you.
The Jack and Daxter games, in terms of tone, is the most.
I enjoy.
Okay.
Coaster.
Here's
I
my
will-
story with them. I enjoyed the first one as a typical Rare style platformer, which was fine. I didn't find it as good as the Rare Gold N64 platformers, but it was a fine enough clone of it. But I didn't really like the abrupt tone change in the games after that, honestly.
It didn't feel gradual. It felt forced.
No, it came out of fucking nowhere.
Because they wanted to continue go with the trend.
Okay. Let me put it like this. It is well known and obvious that Jack and Daxter was kind of made as Sony's answer to The Legend of Zelda. So when Legend of Zelda got a bit darker, they thought, we got out the ante on this stuff. So let's
I don't know,
have Jack...
Jova.
No,
But wasn't around the time though that Wind Waker was released?
Exactly.
Not just that.
Hold on,
not just
hold
that,
on, hold
Jova.
on, hold
Sorry.
on. Let me finish. Remember though, I'm talking about the times when they got dark. Basically though,
Majora's
they were
Mask.
yes, precisely. Basically, the trend being from Ocarina of Time to then Majora's Mask. Sony, of course, mirrored that, but then they overdid it. Okay, so now, of course, Jack can talk. How do we have him be able to talk? Because he goes through an incredibly torturous experience and whatnot. Now, I'll say this: the weird thing is well, Jack 3 and Jack and Daxter, the racing game, those feel like much better. Those feel like much better balanced tones in the sense that, you've got your humor still, and the dark elements felt more controlled. My only, okay, it's weird. As a whole, the series has its issue of fluctuating tonal to stuff, but I dare say that that's mainly because of the one game, Jack and Daxter 2, which is a game that has lots of problems.
It's even called Renegade in the European version. But it's the weird thing. One of the things that actually makes me tolerate still the story despite the tonal shift is the fact that, well, Dexter is still in character and he's still fun to listen. So I long forward to the moments where he opens his mouth because that's where I know I can relax and actually stop with the edge for a second. And considering he talks a lot, at least there's that.
It's interesting you made that analogy, Jova, because back in the day, PlayStation Magazine was actually regarding Dark Cloud as the PlayStation Zelda.
It
like when it first came out.
yeah. The issue with that game was the Dark Cloud franchise kind of went on for a longer duration. Well, okay, not so much longer duration.
Not really, actually.
Hold on,
they only
hold
had two
on,
games.
Hold on.
Sorry, go
Let me
ahead,
reword that. More so in the sense it took a longer time for the games to come out. I worded that poorly. Basically in the sense yes, there was hype for it, but then the hype kind of died down until Dark Cloud 2 came out, and by the time Dark Cloud 2 came out, the whole comparing with Zelda thing kind of ended for that because, well, people kind of forgot Dark Cloud even existed.
Nice. If we could align those ridges, we could probably climb up through there.
It's all so mysterious.
Now that those archaeologists are out of a job, maybe they can puzzle out this place.
Actually, no, the upcoming 2 villain apparently is either Mysterio or Scorpion, basically.
Or both.
Meh.
Yeah.
Mysterio sucks.
Oh, well, who
That's
knows? Maybe
that's
the
part of the
MCU
charm,
will play him
but
up.
the point is that this puzzle was lame. I'd say 10 picarats at best, Pedro.
This latest quest was
It
most
was
unsolving.
the closest thing you could remotely call a puzzle in this game.
No, there were some. The problem is that, just like Pedro said, the puzzles in this game are so lame, to say the least. They are technically functional, it's just not entertaining. That's it.
So, Pedro, will it get better from here?
Nope.
Well,
Of course.
that's right.
Joyful, join us for the next part, then.
See you then.
See ya.
Yeah.